What up, though, y'all? It's Chris, broadcasting from the D. It's a great, hot, feel-good day here in the Motor City. That's why I'm walking outside with a damn hood on to keep some of this sun out of my face. Your boy been outside, though, a lot, getting these 10,000 steps in. I didn't even manage to get darker. I was already a black mofo, and I done managed to get more darker. But anyway, let's talk about the city. You know, the city's been talked about lately, and I'm gonna use this opportunity to talk about the importance of voting. So we had a primary, right? Our mayoral election is coming up, and that's pretty important. Who's going to be the mayor? It's gonna be one of the key decision makers when it comes to running the city. And apparently there was a very low voter turnout for this. Mary Sheffield, who is absolutely leading, she got like 52% of the votes that were cast. So I wouldn't be surprised if later on this year, when the actual mayor election happens, that she ends up winning. But it's crazy because we really don't know how this thing would have went, whether it would have went one way or another, when you got so many people that are just absent, that are choosing not to go out and vote. You guys have heard me talk about how important voting is on various different videos. You've heard me talk about how voting locally is even more important than voting in the presidential election. The presidential election obviously is very important, but dare I say it, local government, who's running, these judges in place and whatnot, it's even more important to know who these people are, because you don't want to end up with a Tiffany Henyard on your hands. Now, Mary Sheffield, I met her a few years back when she was running for city council. Now, she knocked on my door. That was how I came across her, because I had never even heard of her. This was at a time where I was drinking that same Kool-Aid, oh, your vote don't matter, or it's not really that important, or I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. You know, I was on that stuff. And I think back about that now, like, that was really ignorant. I'm glad that I grew out of that. Nonetheless, she came knocking on my door. I come out, she introduces herself and shakes my hand. Very pleasant. We talk for a few minutes. She tells me she's running for city council, and she asked for my vote. And I was really impressed by the fact that this woman came and knocked on my door. I had never had that happen in my life. I'd never seen a politician, anyone running for any sort of local politics, show up here at my door and knock and speak with me. You go. Yeah, I just got here at a stop sign. The guy was gonna let me go, but I'm not in no rush. I'm just out here stepping, so I'm like, you can go ahead and go. But anyway, I was impressed with that. Now you may say, oh, you're easily impressed or whatever. Not really, but I was impressed with that because I've never seen that before. I've never seen anybody out on foot knocking, asking for votes. So I did end up voting for her, even though I didn't know much about her at the time. Since then, I've made it a point to become more familiar with the people who are voting, or the people who are running rather, and what they stand for. Mike Duggan, our current mayor, I voted for him. I think he's been a fantastic mayor for the city. He's going to be running for governor. I hope he wins. I think if he goes into being governor with the same mode of operation that he used when he was mayor or has been mayor of Detroit, I think he'll be a great governor. I don't think there'll be much to worry about in terms of from a leadership perspective. But nonetheless, man, we got problems when people not showing up. It was such a low voter turnout that the news was out talking to random people, asking them if they voted or not. And they came across a group of guys that were on the Avenue of Fashion Avenue. It depends on who you ask and how old they are. But it was a group of guys, and he asked them if they voted. All of them said no. And he's just like, why? And they really couldn't give any legit reasons of why they didn't. They really didn't. And in fact, if you look at their faces when they're talking to him, it's almost like they were embarrassed by the fact that they gave that answer. I mean, initially when they gave the answer, they didn't seem embarrassed by it. But when the reporter pressed them to kind of like give some reasons, like, why aren't you voting? Don't you think it's important? It's like, is voting important? He's like, oh, yes, it is. Well, why didn't you vote? They all kind of collapsed. So people admit they understand that voting is important, but then they don't show up. And now some would say this is done intentionally. And I'm gonna tell you guys this part. Right now, Chris Brown is in town. He was in town yesterday. He's still in town today. Yesterday being Thursday, I didn't like go walking around or whatever, but I could tell it was off the hook and I didn't want nothing to do with it. Today, it's gonna be even worse because it's Friday. Right now, there's not a whole lot of action happening because it's during the hours where mofos should be at work. However, please believe, as it gets closer to that damn concert, especially since it's gonna be like, I don't know, a high of 85 today or something like that, it's gonna be off the hook here downtown. You're gonna see all the thoughts out here wearing little or nothing, you know, getting ready for the concert, and some not even going to the concert. They're gonna be out here just trying to be seen for the YNs that's gonna be out and about. But people are saying that it's intentional, that, I don't know how true this is, but I think it's an interesting theory. Some people are saying that it's intentional, that the Chris Brown concert happened to be here during the same time that the primary was going on, that this is intentionally to keep people distracted. I don't know. I wouldn't. It's a hell of a coincidence, ain't it? So with that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if that were an element in there somewhere. And I can't hammer home enough the fact that it's the very people that complain, this is bad, that's bad, this ain't going right, that ain't going right, this should be better, that should be better. These very people that complain be the ones that don't freaking show up to vote. Make that make sense, y'all. So I implore you, don't be like us here in the city of Detroit. Go out and vote. Learn who's running. Learn about them. That whole, oh, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. Listen, I know y'all think that sounds cool. It's not though, because to other people, you sound silly. And they learn that when, just from talking to that reporter, they thought they sounded so damn cool until he pressed them a bit more for a real answer, and then they quickly realized, damn, that answer wasn't it. Don't be like us here, man. Show up for y'all elections. Learn who's running, learn what they stand for, and vote accordingly. Because, man, you are one election away from being stuck with another Tiffany Henyard. And no one wants that. I'm gonna leave it there though, you guys. Hit me with a like if you like what I do. Hit me with a sub if you like what I do. And hit me in them comments. I'm holla at y'all. Peace.